Philosophers talk to our times, a future future history. One of the queerest things I think the internet does is that it explores a problem that Descartes dealt with. The problem is surfeits of certainty. You see, the problem for Descartes didn't really start with doubt. Doubt was the solution. The problem was always that there was just too much flipping certainty in the world. You had one creed believing they were right. You had another creed believing they were right. And they were tearing each other and all of Europe apart because of those beliefs. He's writing, remember, in the 30 Years' War. Europe's most murderous, protracted conflict. Nothing else withstanding. More murderous per capita than the First World War. And so that problem of certainty and how you respond to it, how you use doubt as kind of like your engine to try to refigure how you understand things, was very much at the forefront of his mind. And isn't this our experience? The internet, and increasingly the world of AI, is going to create a world where it simply froths with certainty. Endless stories, endless things, facts that we feel we know. Our minds are being made reservoirs of fairly useless facts. So much so that while in old days you actually had to go out and look for things to know about, now they just tumble in from your algorithm, telling you stories from far, the latest research. Some of it is even true, occasionally. But all of it is dressed up in the same absolute credo, so that it becomes very difficult to know, to resolve in your minds. And we all get caught up in our own personal set of truths, our own personal set of uncertainties to inflict upon the world. But at the same time, of course, it creates doubt. Because once you have too much certainty, there seems to me to be an economy of certainty, that once you froth beyond a certain amount, the minute you stop being certain, the minute you lose your credo, the minute you face two certainties which cannot be both true, you get lost in the prism of doubt. And it's a kind of a corrosive doubt. That corrosive doubt that is the other scourge of our age. A doubt that says, oh, I don't know that anything's true, really. It all might be lies, mightn't it? And doesn't do the genius Descartes move of then going cognito ergo sum. Or it might do that and go, well, it's mine. I know it's true because I thought it. See, thinking about it. It's like a Descartes without the reason, isn't it? Sorry. The argument is just developed. But so it is much more like Descartes, but without the ability to move to reason. So that things become true because I believe in them. They're my opinion, my feeling. But that feeling gets its nihilism, because it is dancing over the rim of Descartesian doubt. It makes for a very uncomfortable position. It makes for a very uncomfortable position in relation to truth, because a lot of the time we're all reacting violently to a set of facts that we know, that others do not know, that we may wish to burden them with, and they may wish to reject. In a sense, it breaks genuine conversation, because conversation becomes all about an exchange of facts and deciding whether you do believe that fact or don't believe that fact, and running through your own little quotas of doubt and certainties, worrying about where you are in that doubt and certainty war. It, of course, makes huge amounts of sense for advertisers, because advertisers can enter this field of certainty with their new certainties as well. And we're also used to responding. And likewise, they can maximize doubt and deploy it. And of course, it is into that world that already existed AI falls. And AI is the perfect engine to create doubt and certainty. It engineers endlessly near truths that are what? What was the figure? 90% certain? So you could suddenly know vast amounts more, but not absolutely accurately. Now, I've spent my life, I have a kind of memory where I can remember huge amounts of stuff quite inaccurately. But I do remember it. And one of the things you learn to do if you're managing a brain that does that naturally is to sort through the threads and work out the bits that you've made up, because I do, and work out which bits are really true. I end up being rather brutal with my own memories because I go through them and go, well, I don't think that bit's true. I mean, I know when I don't quite know what I'm talking about. Now, that's taken me a lifetime to work out so that I don't suffer from smug certainties, because I can remember longer and more than lots of other people can. I'm not boasting, it's just a fact. I'm 57 and I can easily remember 1974. Let's just put it that way. Relatively easily when I was 5. And my memory starts really about then. So I'm good. And I know how difficult it is then to sort through memories. And these are my own memories. How difficult it is to not resolve into smug assertion of things that you probably don't quite remember. And obviously, if you're in a world where you're now caught up in too much certainty, of which not all of it is accurate, and of course the inaccuracies are sometimes cumulative, because AI reacts to AI and builds more and more castles in the air, you're caught up then in a perfect storm of doubt and of semi-certainty, where the ultimate result is that you undermine any conception of underlying truth, which is enormously convenient. I'm going to just put it that way. It's enormously convenient to the marketing guys. It's enormously convenient to the petrochemical industry. It's enormously convenient to those of you who want to swing a certain version of the world where how you respond to the lack of certainty is violent emotion. Because you could go the full Humean hog here. It is really Hume. That because you now live in a mind which has been hollowed out from certainty, the only real certainties, of course, are your violent and powerful emotions. And so patriotism usurps truth, because it is the thing that can create that feeling of certainty, or rather what it actually does is it schematizes, sorts through, so things that are not patriotic are seen as dark, full of doubt. Every moment of doubt that the actual system is generated is projected then onto a certain group of people, immigrants, the left, whatever you like, us climate skeptics, us climate warriors who are trying to defend the world, all of us, we can all be part of the doubt merchants. And you create for yourself an island of emotive certainty. That's what I meant when I said it's kind of negative Descartes. It's Descartes not done with reason, but with emotion. And that violence then becomes the normality of our world. And the problem is, surface of certainties are creating that violence. They're creating the doubt. And this is a response to that certainty. And AI simply then plugs into that. It plugs into that because it starts to feed stories to fuel that doubt. Sorry, to fuel that economy of hate and doubt. Why not? That's what it does. It's got no ability to think. All it does is to respond to what everybody else is doing. It's the ultimate yes guy, if you like. And so it doesn't take much to make it behave that way. And the entire thing gets stoked and goes round and round and round. So, if you wanted to think of a little thing you could do, a little way you could rebel in a world where rebellion is becoming difficult because it becomes caught up in this economy of doubt and certainty, my own advice to you is to try to be a little less certain. Try not to absolutely believe everything that you think you believe. Question your memories, question your stories. Go, where did I actually get that from? Not in some great foolish, they're all lying to us way. Oh no. But just, you want to deploy not Descartesian full-on skepticism, but the Humean moderate form, where actually you allow yourself to be less certain of your facts and say, well, I just read it on the internet, didn't I? And that's what matters. You always attribute your sources, because by attributing your sources, you'll start to see the way the algebra works. You'll start to see how your mind is being driven to certainty, how you're being, therefore, lured into doubt as it's obverse. By always understanding where the story comes from. You don't have to question its motives, but you have to question how you're remembering it, why you're remembering it, and where it fits into your own mind. A little bit of lightly tinged skepticism, then, does wonders. Waters down your own certainties, and therefore undermines your own possibilities for doubt.